Things are definitely escalating here in Israel and now multiple other countries. Take a look here. Israel strikes Gaza, Syria, and the West Bank as the war against Hamas threatens to ignite other fronts as rockets and missiles have been shot from other countries to American bases and military bases and towards Israel here within the last several days. Yeah, Israeli warplanes struck targets across Gaza overnight, as well as 2 airports into Syria and a mosque, and occupied the West Bank, allegedly used by militants, as the 2-week-old war with Hamas threatened to spiral into a broader conflict. Israel has traded fire with Lebanon's Hezbollah militant group, which is up to 100,000 troops on a near daily basis now since the war began. So think about that. Hezbollah is probably going to be in this war. And tensions are soaring in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, where Israeli forces have battled militants in refugee camps and carried out 2 airstrikes in recent days. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told troops in northern Israel that Hezbollah launches a war against Israel, quote, "It will make the mistake of its life. We will cripple it with a force it cannot imagine, and consequences for it and the Lebanese state will be, quote, devastating." Tanks and tens of thousands of troops have amassed on the border, and Israeli leaders have spoken of an undefined next stage in operations. Israeli spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said the country had increased airstrikes across Gaza to hit targets that would reduce the risk of troops in the next stage of the war. This comes as Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin says that the U.S. is upping its Middle East presence due to risk of attacks on American troops. That's right. Yeah, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, addressing the media, says that it's upping its presence in the Middle East with U.S. troops because of risk of escalated attacks on American troops, saying, quote, "What we're seeing is a prospect of significant escalation on attacks of our troops and our people throughout the region," he said on ABC's This Week. And because of that, we're going to do what's necessary to make sure that our troops are in that position and we're protected and we have the ability to respond. So we're probably going to be seeing more U.S. troops in the area. He also said that upping the military presence in the region will send another message to those who would seek to widen this conflict in response to the attacks, the potential attacks from Hezbollah in Lebanon, from Iran. The administration has told other groups seeking to get involved, don't, even though Hezbollah has already been involved. Quote, "If any group or other country is looking to widen this conflict and take advantage of this very unfortunate situation that we see, our advice is don't. We maintain the right to defend ourselves, and we won't hesitate to take appropriate action." The United States announced plans to ramp up its military presence in the Middle East as an act of deterrence amid the ongoing fight between Israel and militant groups Hamas on Saturday. Austin said in the announcement that he redirected the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower Strike Group to join the USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group, which is currently stationed in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. Meanwhile, Iran is warning Israel to stop the war in Gaza, or the region will, quote, "go out of control." Well, maybe you shouldn't have attacked Israel with thousands of missiles in the first place, and this wouldn't have happened, right? I mean, what did you think was going to happen? You can let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Iran's foreign minister has warned Israel that the Middle East could spiral out of control if it does not stop strikes on Gaza. But again, they're still striking Israel. They started the strikes to begin with, and they haven't stopped their strikes back. He said the U.S. was also to blame for providing military support for Israel. Hours later, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned troops that his people were in a battle for their lives and said the war against Hamas was do or die. Iran supports both Hamas, which attacked Israel 2 weeks ago, killing 1,400 people, and Lebanon's Hezbollah. More than 4,600 Palestinians have been killed in the last 2 weeks in Gaza, according to Hamas-runs health industry. And Israel announced on Saturday that it was intensifying airstrikes. Quote, I warn the U.S. and its proxy Israel that if they do not immediately stop the crime against humanity and genocide in Gaza, anything is possible at any moment and the region will run out of control. He said the results could be severe and bitter and have far-reaching repercussions, both regionally and for those advocating for war. I love how they say that the U.S. is advocating for war when Hamas attacked Israel out of the blue at a music festival and 2,000 missiles on the first day. But they say that the U.S. is advocating for war. Israel's just sitting there one day and they attack Israel with 2,000 missiles. And you hear this propaganda. The U.S. is advocating for war. Just think about this. This is Russian propaganda. You hear this stuff, and you hear this stuff about Ukraine as well. And right, remember Russia used to say, "Oh, we're not going to invade Ukraine," right? We're not going to invade Ukraine. They said this as they were lining up 100,000 troops, right? We're not going to invade Ukraine. We're not going to invade Ukraine, and then they invaded Ukraine, right? You can literally go back and look this up. I remember reporting on this stuff before they invaded Ukraine. We're not going to invade Ukraine. We're not going to invade Ukraine. Then they invaded Ukraine. Okay, same thing here. Honestly, many people think it's either Russia or Iran or China or North Korea that is funding this war against Israel to begin with, which it probably is. Okay, and this is why you're hearing the same type of propaganda as well. And again, they're going to blame this stuff on the U.S. How is this the U.S.'s fault? Okay, how is this Israel's fault? Israel's there, people were at a music festival, and they get hit with 2,000 missiles. Now, of course, you know, they ended up shooting some of them down, but it's a surprise attack. People were there at a music festival, and they get hit with missiles. Oh, it's the U.S.'s fault. What? Oh, you need to stop. Well, how about start by not hitting a country with missiles out of the blue? What? Like you think of the rationale and the reasoning of this stuff. Oh, the U.S.-led proxy war. U.S.-led proxy war, you could just start by not attacking Israel with 2,000 missiles out of the blue and then trying to blame Israel. And so many people fall into this propaganda. Again, this new war, this new phase, I get that you know some of this stuff goes back thousands, hundreds of years, right? But nothing would have happened here in the last 2 weeks if you hadn't hit us with 2,000 missiles. There would be no war. There would be no fighting going on right now. I mean, this isn't hard to comprehend. And then they want to blame Israel. They want to blame the United States. They want to blame people that are helping Israel retaliate or defend themselves. And don't get me wrong, they're still attacking Israel. Hezbollah is still attacking Israel. Hamas is still attacking Israel. They're still firing at Israel while also speaking out of both sides of their mouth. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of innocence on both sides caught up in this. Okay? That is the real problem with this. Is a lot of the innocent lives, or all the innocent lives. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. This is gonna go on for a long time. This is gonna go on for a long time. So I'll keep you up to date here. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. This is the real stuff that a lot of people don't either talk about, don't know about, don't hear about. This is the stuff that needs to be said. And this is the problem. You got to get past the propaganda. This is the sad reality of things. So I'll keep you up to date. This is real talk that you're going to hear here on this channel. So if you haven't yet, subscribe down below. Click the bell icon. New videos come out here every day, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to like and share these videos. Click here to see the attacks happening in the U.S. and China preparing for nuclear war. Or click here to see my newest video next. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.